Alright, now for what I will be reading for the rest of, starting this month. Some of these I'll finish. Guys, already saying, some of these I will definitely finish before the end of the month, but this is what I'll be reading for this month so far. And then I want to try and do towards the end of the month, like the 20th or whatever, when it's like not quite the middle, but not quite the end of the month. I do want to try to do one final here's I'll be reading for the rest of the year video where I'll show off like the rest of the comics I'll be reading for the rest of the year. I already said I do want to. I've been trying to do that in the past, but I just kept neglecting to do it, and then by the time it was mostly just timing, and a lot of it is just a lot to get out because I have to get out every single volume of the comics that are on my PC. They'll be reading this month for clarity's sake and for it to be complete. But anyways, let's get on with it. Some of these you have seen before because I didn't get around to reading them either at all last month or started them last month, and I'll be continuing to read them this month. And I realize there's more books over there that I forgot about. Alright, so I'll grab those first. That's too big a stack. It's two omnibuses. Gotta try to remember to take those out. Alright. Hello Sunshine. So I will go over the authors when it comes to the ones that are Image Comics writers. I have Image books in here, books from Image. And I always, in general, would have it. First of all, I would not put something in like this into the Image Comics writers pile. I would have like one or the other. Like this is miscellaneous comics, miscellaneous comic writers, which I know that makes no sense to you because no one else does this. But I like to keep it. Since last year, I've liked this little routine, I guess you could say, where, and I've since pretty much neglected to do that too, where it was one time around, it was the Image Comics writers, where it was like Brian Azzarello, and like I get comics from Brian Azzarello from the library, and Meredith Finch, and Rick Remender, and David F. Walker, and so on and so forth. But then I'd have books that I'd be interested in checking out, and they'd be by Tom Taylor, or Christopher Cantwell, or whoever, or all those other writers that have not done anything for Image. So this is a writer that hasn't done anything for Image. I actually think this is her first outing, her first graphic novel in general. It's Keezy Young who's the writer. I will mention that because it's worth mentioning. Because again, first, a new and upcoming writer. But this one I just never got around to. As you can tell, it's a pretty thick book, and it's an OGN. But like I did with Bad Girls from Alex Acampi, rather than read it all in one sitting, I'll go by chapter. So I'll read one chapter, and then read something else, and the next chapter. That's how I do it in general with comics. Like, I'll do one issue of X-Men, then one issue of Spider-Man, then one issue of Batman, then one issue of Sex Criminals, then one issue of Saga, then one issue of Paper Girls, and so on and so forth. The only reason why I was that specific was I wanted to mention some Image books that you always check out. Kind of throw that out there. Give credit where it's due. No, it's a word that people use. Not give credit where it's due, but shout outs to those books. Some don't need it, obviously, but still. This does seem to be the group that's just now getting into comics anyways, or into indie books anyways. And then I do have some seasoned comic book readers, obviously. It's why I don't make my content exclusively for one party. But anyways, hello Sunshine. Already droning on about... already gonna get on topic. Zatanna and the Ripper, Volume 1. This is one I just saw. Now, this is written by Sarah Deely, and I thought it was Sarah Grayley at first. I knew who it was, I picked it up. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is Sarah Deely, not Sarah Grayley. When I saw the book, I had it physically in my hand. But this is a new release that showed up, and decided why not read it. I know nothing about it other than it's based off the webcomic of the same name. Oh, these are all OGNs, by the way, to start out with. I know it's not a comic haul, so I'm not going to say how many issues it would collect anyways, but I do like to go in order. I go OGN, and then... Usually, what I used to do is it would be OGNs, rereads, and not rereads, but it's just two things. It's just OGNs and not OGNs. Glitch by this is by Sarah Grayley. Here we go. Nice. Did not plan this out at all. I knew I had some by Sarah Grayley, but I didn't do this on purpose. But there you go, Sarah Grayley Glitch. So there's Sarah Grayley did recently come out with Pizza Witch from Image, so that's why I mentioned the writer. Again, the reason why I mentioned Sarah Dealey was not only because I got confused with Sarah Grayley, but also because she seems to also be a new and upcoming writer. I think, at least. That was more just checking out what other books from her the library had, and that's all I saw. So I'm not 100% sure, because my library is kind of infamous for not having a whole lot of one writer's stuff. They have a bunch of stuff from a bunch of writers, and even then it's kind of scattered. But Glitch, Sarah Grayley, nothing about the series. Like I said before when I first went over this, she has a type. I'm going to show the artwork. I guess this is a good spot to show it. Very much this type of humor, very much this type of graphic novel, this type of storytelling from what I've seen from her. And like every book kind of has that same kind of artwork, that borderline Rick and Morty style of artwork. But I would say a more cutesy version of Rick and Morty. Is what Sarah Grayley does. Yes, I guess you could say Adventure Time. I could totally see her being really good at writing Adventure Time comics. Away from the show. Meat Eaters by Meredith McClaren. Now this one was a major surprise. I just came across this one, and I had it's been a while since Meredith McClaren was ever in any sort of my mind. I want to say the last time she was at all relevant on this channel or in my thoughts was when I should not have said mine. I should have said thoughts when I said that before. But always like kind of in the back of my mind, and then completely left my thoughts until I want to say. So it left my thoughts after I got Black Cloak Volume 2, because she was the artist for that series, again by Image. But then after that, it just completely left my mind, and then I saw this with my thoughts, and I saw this. I was like, oh, Meat Eaters. So it's written by Meredith McClaren. Let's check this out. And now you see it in my hand. I don't know how to say it like that. But I just gotta stop saying and just the worst words to keep repeating. Repeatedly saying. Said again. But Meat Eaters, Meredith McClaren. I guess I just never thought to look up what she had done for Image, what she had done for the library had. This was also a new release, so I wouldn't have shown up if I had done it, even back in April. Cause yeah, that was November. That was like recent. Flash Gordon, The Girl from Infinity by Marguerite Bennett. I said Meredith. Flash Gordon, The Girl from Infinity by Marguerite Bennett. That was very stilted the way I said it the first time around. And especially I missed up the name. But this is I thought this was Flash Gordon, but I think they're doing the female. I know nothing about Flash Gordon, so this cover means nothing to me. I don't know if that's Flash Gordon, if that's Flash Gordon. I want to say it's a girl. It looks weird. Point is that this does not look like the Flash Gordon that I've seen in bits and pieces from Ted, which even now, but it's been a while since I watched Ted, and then maybe some spoofs that some TV shows do. Now, this one I did not expect to be this size either. So the digest size, but hardcover, but digest size. I thought this was like a 6-issue miniseries or whatever, but I don't even know what this is. And also, it's a junior graphic novel for kids. And I never thought Flash Gordon was technically for kids. It's like a Back to the Future Ghostbusters thing, where it's not made for adults per se, but not exclusively made for kids. Like, yeah, I know Flash Gordon's PG. I believe it's PG anyways. So it's a parental guidance suggested, and that means nothing nowadays. But back then, it was the PG-13. They didn't have a PG-13 rating until 1984. Which I think Flash Gordon does not predate the PG-13 rating. I could be wrong. Again, I know very little. I'm pretty sure it's PG, though. But yes, actually, I know it's PG. But Flash Gordon, The Girl from Infinity. A lot of unknowable. A lot of things I don't know. A lot of unknowns for that. Unknowables. I was trying to be a little bit... Obviously, I wasn't saying that word. I was saying that word... I was trying to say that word ironically, not unironically. But it almost came out unironically. Did you hear it? Any game done? Did you hear it? Any game done? Very surprised I did not read this one right off the bat. I have read this one before, and I really dug it. And I think I've read it about. It's been my third or fourth time reading it. I know I've read it at least twice over. I want to say twice over seems inaccurate, but I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head when the third instance was. I know when the second was. Of course, I remember my first, but the third I can't remember. So maybe this is my third time around. I don't know. But very good stuff, and a graphic novel I think should be featured in all true crime classes. And also, I got this one from one of the libraries. It takes forever to get their library to get the book over, and that's their new system too. So that one library it's a library's fault. I think it's just a library that doesn't visit often. But once I had to wait 14 days for it to come in, which is crazy to think about. Because usually it's same day. You'll get lucky, and sometimes it'll be same day delivery. So it's like same day delivery to that same week. Maybe if you order it on Sunday, you'll get it that week. But if you order it on Monday, you might have to wait 1 week. But usually it's same day or within that same week. So like 3 to 4 days. Pride of Baghdad by Brian K. Vaughan. I'm going over these pretty quickly because I've mentioned these before. This one is also done by Nico. Artist is Nico Hendrickson. Same creative team behind Spectators. And I loved this one, and that was the whole reason why I immediately was interested in purchasing Spectators, if not only for Brian K. Vaughan's writing. This was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it when I first read it back last year, and I cannot wait to read it again. Pretty thin too, so I'm, again, surprised I did not read this one sooner. This one is The Walking Man. This is the book that they mentioned on a Near American Condition live stream, and I checked out primarily because of that. And they had it at the library, and I was like, all right. I did that to myself. I was like, wait a minute. I just noticed this too. I'm holding this upside down. No, it's just the way it's featured. But one I've been interested in checking out, and it's not written by, obviously not written by anyone who did anything for Image. Last OGN is Graveyard Wars by A.J. Lieberman. Right, 12 minutes. By A.J. Lieberman. This is one that I have read twice before. I wasn't super impressed by it. I liked it more the second time around than I did the first time around, but I was kind of largely unimpressed. Not to the point where I would say it was at all disappointing, because I had no expectations going in. I just wanted to see how A.J. Lieberman was as a writer, and pretty good. Because the first time around, I probably give like a 5 out of 10. I think second time probably give like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It's been just a meme. Unbeknownst to me. That's why I said it. But I don't think... I want to say I liked it more second time around. To the degree where it would go up from a 6 to a 7. I don't think anything more than a 7 out of 10. But anyways, time will tell if how I end up doing the series. And I just click that, and there we go. Perfect. I'm one of those people that does not... It's mainly because of the way I am, but I'm one of those people that takes forever to take out the trash. And it's not... Thankfully, it's just a bunch of, like, Gatorade bottles, and nothing of it's, like, food or anything that they can't stay in there for too long. Everything's fine to be in there for long, but it's like, yeah, just take it out. I don't know why I don't. I'll just do that. I'll do that after this, honestly. DC Comics versus X Sonic. DC Comics X. I'm still on the trash, so that's still in my mind. DC X Sonic the Hedgehog. This one I bought. I got from the library just based on the title itself, and I saw it come up. And I was like, "Hey, this is a crossover with DC Comics and Sonic." Never thought that would happen. It is the writer of the ongoing Sonic run too, so good hands. He's in good hands with. We're in good hands with Sonic, at least. But DC meets Sonic, that's already just... Gotta see how that is. I'm not super into Sonic. Never really was, I'd argue. I played the video games. I don't think I ever would have been interested in owning any merchandise outside of that. Maybe if they made onion rings that were Sonic rings, I would check those out. Or if they made toy, even toys. I never had any Sonic toys. Mario toys, obviously, but Sonic toys never. Astonishing X-Men. This is one of two. So the other book that did not come in yet is Avengers. Not the Kree Skrull War. Come on, brain. War Across Time. That one I would have gotten yesterday, but the truck came too late, and then we had a storm today, so I couldn't get there today. I'll have to wait till tomorrow. But it's War Across Time and Astonishing X-Men Volume 2 are the only two books that I don't have right now. Now, I do own Astonishing X-Men The Complete Collection Volume 2. No idea where it is, though. I looked everywhere. I looked in the closet, I looked in a bunch of piles you don't see from here, but I looked on the shelves where I have it hidden, because that's the way I have to because that's the way I have to have the shelves. That's the way the shelves are built, is that you have, so it doesn't avalanche. I have to have, it's like this going across and then this going down, exactly like that. So it's like an L shape. So I have to fill in the where it crosses over, and that's hidden because there's comics covering it. And I thought to myself, oh, it's in there. That's why, because I can't see it, so it makes sense, yada yada. I just put it away once I last read it. Not in there. I have no idea where the hell book 2 went. So I just got it from the library, and I'll be using the library's copy to read Astonishing X-Men The Complete Collection Volume 2. And again, not mentioning the author because he didn't do Joss Whedon. I'll say what it is because for clarity's sake. But Joss Whedon has not done anything for Image. And why did I do that? Well, because when I'm going over the Image Comics writers pile, I have books from Image that I do mention who the writer is, so I may as well keep it uniform and do the same for the other books that are from DC or Marvel, but still written by Image Comics writers. Black Widow, the Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 1, The Itsy Bitsy Spider. This one collects the first, the late 90s stuff by Greg Rucka and Devin Grayson, the Marvel Max series by Greg Rucka, not by Devin Grayson, just by Greg Rucka. That's the sole reason why it has a explicit content sticker on the back, or label on the back, not sticker, but label on the back. And what's kind of ironic about that is it's just 3 issues. And not really that bad. Some F words, and it does deal with like BDSM clubs, so some mild sexual content, but nothing too crazy. I'd argue you could no. So soft R is what I would describe it as. And then you have the series by Richard K. Morgan, who is not in Image Comics. So it's kind of funny you have like best of both worlds in here. Obviously, Greg Rucka and Devin Grayson have done stuff for Image, but Richard K. Morgan has not. So, best of both worlds. But the Richard K. Morgan stuff, the first time I read it, I was, like, honestly kind of bored with it. I'm hoping this time around I like a lot more. I think it was because this Devin Grayson stuff, especially the Greg Rucka series that they both worked on, has just perfect pacing. It's exactly, especially for Black Widow comics. Like, you don't want there to be a whole lot, at least I would say, you wouldn't want there to be a whole lot of dialogue in a Black Widow comic. And so want dialogue in a Black Widow comic, but not for it to be over excessive. And I felt that the Greg Rucka and the Devin Grayson, especially the Greg Rucka series, did that perfectly. The Marvel Max one, not as much. The Marvel Max one has to be more dialogue. It's less action, more detective work kind of thing. You know what I mean if you've read the series. Anyways, continuing on. Helen of Windhorn by Tom King. This was one that I had no idea existed until I saw the trade. I want to say, at least, this is the case, until I saw the trade being advertised. And it's another Tom King book, and it's one I hadn't read before, so let's give it a shot. I have very mixed feelings about Tom King as a writer. But I always do want to check out stuff, especially when I get it for free, thanks to my local library. Okay, so now we're on to the Image Comics pile. Now, this first series is I completely lost the train of thought there. But this first series is one that. Yeah, this is in order. What's going on here? Yeah, one's one. Was it in order before? I don't know why this confuses me so much. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can't write the first time. Okay. Like that. So this one I started off reading in November, and that's because I gave myself the last 43 days, Ammon, to past, present, future tense, technically. But I'm giving myself the final 43 days to read Black Science. And it started out on November 19th. So we have Black Science Volume 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, different there, 8, and 9 left. So 4 through 9 is what I have left for Black Science. The entire series being written by the great Rick Remender. So series that so I've read that before. Okay, so here's the thing for the Image comics for December. This is an idea I came up with like last minute yesterday, and I thought it was a really great idea. So because December is the final month of the year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take every single comic I choose to read. Again, it's collected edition. I choose to read from a graphic novel I choose to read from Image. And it has to be one I've read either this year or last year, past 2 years. I'm gonna maybe even past 3 years, but they have to all be repeats, nothing new. Now there is one that I have on the library's catalog that might come in, and of course I want to read it right when it comes in, so I might add some new ones. And I'll probably be doing Golden Rage again, and Golden Rage Volume 2 I've not read before. So it'll be my first time reading it. If I read it this month, my first time reading Golden Rage Volume 2. But it's the same series. Same thing with The Mummy. I do consider that by skin of its teeth, but you can consider the same series called Universal Monsters. So yeah, it's not the same, it's just Universal Monsters, it's a series. It's like Creepshow. How Creepshow is an anthology tale, but even that's anthologies. But you get what I'm trying to say. So all these ones you have seen before, if you've been watching my videos for the entirety of this year, and then some of last year too. Alpha Flight by Brian Azzarello. This is Alpha Flight. Alpha King. Alpha King by Brian Azzarello. Not Alpha Flight, but Alpha King by Brian Azzarello. This is one of those series that is just complete junk food. It's not trying to be deep, philosophical. It's just trying to be a dumb, fun kind of comic. One of those that you turn off your brain and have a completely fun time with it. That's this comic in a nutshell. I cannot wait to read this again. So it's technically co-written by Nick Floyd. So it's Nick Floyd and Brian Azzarello. But it's one of those comics that, honestly, I don't know. So it says writers, Brian Azzarello and Nick Floyd. Yeah, Brian Azzarello and Nick Floyd. I thought it said art and colors was Simon Beasley, but it's art and covers by Simon Beasley, not art and colors. I thought it was art and colors. Why I stopped there for a second. But Brian Azzarello and Nick Floyd's Alpha King. All 5 volumes of Brian Azzarello's Moonshine. I know I just read this in October, but do it again. Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5 of Moonshine. This is one of those series that it really doesn't matter that I just read it in October, because this series, there's a lot that happens in the series, and it's kind of all over the place and kind of a mess, but an interesting mess. I liked it a lot more second time around than the first, so I am actually eager to read it again this time around, rather than being casually optimistic, but obviously a bit hesitant too. This time the artist is Eduardo Rizzo, so same creative team behind 100 Bullets. It's not as good as 100 Bullets. And I forgot to do it again. Oh, my brain, this does not work. Alright, we'll do a speed run at the end. So I forgot to do I was going to do the image books last, because now it makes no sense to do it the way I just did it. But whatever. I knew I forget. Brain doesn't work. Alright, Eternal Empire, Volumes 1 and 2 by Sarah Vaughn. Love this series, and I'll probably be adding in Alex plus Odd at the last minute at the end of this month. Both those series I really liked. And I just read, Sleepless. And it's not one of those series that, like a Moonshine, where so much happens that I need to read again to remember, refresh, yada yada yada. No, Sleepless is pretty easy to remember, but not in a bad way, of course. Memorable, I should have said. Clone of Volumes 1 through 4 by David Schulner, so Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Clone. This is a series that was a high octane thrill ride. One of the closest I've gotten to an action movie being in comic book form, but being just as investing, just as edge of your seat thrill ride investing as it would be if it was on the big screen with a bunch of surround sound and loud noises and all that. It's exactly like watching an action movie, but in comic book format. More so than you would think, is what I'm trying to say. Hardcore, but it's a bit like that too, but this one doubly so. This is 20 issues, and it never, ever, ever was ever boring, even for a page. 100% cannot wait to read this again. And me saying all that is what I said last time. That's right, supposed to be regurgitating what I said the first time I read it, so then just saying it again for the second time. My thoughts can change. Like with this series, I hope I can finally get into excellence. This is why I just thought it was a complete mess. Just a complete mess. Nothing more to say other than that. This is written by Brandon Thomas. There's 2 volumes in the series. Moving on to a Brandon Thomas series that's also by Image that I really liked, and that was Horizon. Horizon was also kind of a mess, but I'd honestly say that Excellence insisted you remember every single thing that happened in it, or at least the most crucial things, and I just couldn't do that the first 2 times around. I'm gonna try if I have to read the same issue twice over, I will, because I really want to remember everything that happens, or what I need to remember that happens in Excellence, because I feel me saying it's a complete mess is a bit dishonest, and it more has to say about how I am as a reader than how the series is as a whole. That never usually happens for me, so it's a very foreign concept even to this day, where I've been reading, just in general, been reading all my life. So, very foreign for me to say that. And I don't just read the same 2 books over and over again, or the same types of comics over and over again. So, I definitely have read comics that don't exactly make sense the more I read it. Even maybe it makes a little bit more sense. Grant Morrison's a great example. But Horizon just felt like you didn't really know, and it was just kind of whatever. Which is a pure entertainment thrill ride value, whatever, how the hell you want to say it. High octane thrill ride, whatever. That's this. But in sci-fi form, not in action comics, not in action movie form. So volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Horizon. Then the last Image Comics. It's not a big deal that I forgot to do things the way I wanted to do them. So the reason why I know I should have done is I should put the Image Comics books to the side, and then replace those with the 2 omnibuses that's really taking up that much room, and then the other books. And we're not that big a deal. So why I have them to the side? Well, the reason, because I have so much to read with the Image books especially, unfortunately I kind of can't put it to the side. I have to do it the way I'm doing it, and go about things this way. And put some to the side for now. You can tell I was distracted. That made no sense. What I was saying. I was completely trailing off. The point I was trying to make was that I can't read all of them in one day. I don't have time off like I did at the end of the month last month. I was able to do that. I'm gonna I'm trying to put these in a different order. No, I feel like sometimes my words don't come out right, and it's not. I don't even know. All right, post that. We're wasting time. Thunderbolts by Jim Zub. Yeah, why did I see that? No, I can't get it. Thunderbolts by Jim Zub, the complete collection. I'm gonna go over these last ones quicker because I've already shown these before, and it's just, not too much mention about Thunderbolts. Y the Last Man, the Compendium of Volume 1. First time reading the Compendium, and so far so good. And also, in terms of binding. And also, I thought that this would line up perfectly. This is the first 3 oversized hardcovers. It's not. It's the first 2.5. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. And so the whole point of it is they don't have the second compendium at my local library. Same library that had Volume 1 does not have Volume 2. DC Universe Legacies. I'm still going to act as if I haven't read this yet, or read part of this yet, rather. And just say the same, moving on. Len Wein. I was going to say, I don't want to mention anything, because, stuff that I haven't read before, or I haven't finished it yet. No, both those are inaccurate. It's my first time reading DC Universe Legacies. I wanted to act as if I haven't read part of it yet. There we go. That's what I had to say. All I had to say. This next one I really shouldn't show because I don't know if I'll even finish this year. But this is Uncanny X-Force, and you can tell that Dust Jacket has seen better days. Not because of how many times I've read it, by the way, and not because I read it with a Dust Jacket on. It's keeping my closet, and I move shit around sometimes, I guess. And what happens is, I'll have it, so when I finish reading it and I put it away in my closet, sometimes I'll have it like this, where there's this right here. You can see at the bottom, it's not quite all the way down. So I'll be bumping up against stuff, and it'll get creased and edged. That's why I am so adamant about keeping my Image Comics series. Every last Image comic book that I own, it's a collected edition, I keep on my shelf. Because those are the ones I care most about. Of course, I don't want any of my books to get destroyed, but this would piss me off if it was Rat Queen's Omnibus and had all this shit wrong with it. Especially because I haven't read this one all the way through yet. Yeah, this is tearing apart too. But yeah, Uncanny X-Force, written by Rick Remender. It's a series I keep trying to get into, but can never really finish. It's definitely not my favorite Rick Remender comic by a wide margin. Then last but not least, we have Lucifer by Mike Carey. I have been getting really bad with this one. I should be at least halfway done with this by now, based off how long I've had this. But I am only on issue, let's see actually, they do a table of contents. Where is my bookmark? I keep thinking I feel it. What the hell is the bookmark? No, we're not that far in. I know we haven't gone to Gamma yet. How did I remember that name just now? I couldn't remember it before. I don't know. It wasn't like I flipped past the page and in the corner of my eye I saw the name. There it is. Okay, so we are on page rather, first. 181. So not even 200 pages into a 10,000 or 1,000 plus page comic. Or omnibus rather. So 181 we said. We are on issue... Sorry, 179 because you don't count. Okay. We are only on issue 5 of Lucifer. That is bad. Yeah, there's 3 issue miniseries called Sandman Universe Presents Lucifer. Lucifer. That's not good. Alright. So I can get these books finished. Let's end this video now. Yeah, 34 minutes.